we're gonna go over what we need today for a closet grow, a CFL closet grow. Yeah, you can use LEDs also too if you wanted to. Let's see what we got here. Okay, first thing you're gonna need is a tent, or you're gonna need a closet, and you're gonna have to keep it very, very clean, and you're always gonna want to keep that clean on a daily basis. You're gonna want these splitters. Okay, these are 1 to 2. You can also get ones that are 1 to 3, 1 to 4, however you want to do it for your light. I like to do it like this because I can kind of dictate where my lights are going to go along the sides of the plant and not just keep top coverage on my canopies. So usually what I like to do, or I'll kind of show you at the end of the video what I like to do. I'll keep it kind of brief on that. So, okay, we're going to need some bulbs. What I usually like to get are these here. These are 23 watt. A lot of times you get bulbs nowadays, they're only going to be 8 watt or 11 watt, maybe 13. These at 23, they keep the price down. You get a lot of them, and it's cheap. I think these were like 15 bucks for 4, or less. They're like 3 or 4 bucks a bulb. Expect to pay about that. Okay, it says 100 watt, but you got to watch out. That's actually a replacement for incandescent bulbs is what they call it. That's a replacement wattage, but its true wattage is 23. So always watch out for that. That's something to always watch out for. You always watch out for what amount of Kelvin you're going to get. That's the output from the light that kind of provides what spectrum you're going to be getting. You want a full spectrum, so you want daylight, anything that says daylight. Okay, you don't want warm, you don't want soft, you don't want red, blue, cool, nothing. You want daylight, which is always going to be 5,000 Kelvin to 6,500 Kelvin. Okay, this is what you probably want to get if this is just what you're kind of doing for your first time. It's cheap and they work. Each watt is going to give you about a little less than half a gram of weed. So for every watt, you're going to get a little less than a half a gram of weed on a CFL grow if you do it the right way. A beginner, expect to get probably on a beginning grow, expect to get about 1/4 of a gram. So if you got a little over 100 watts total, you're going to expect to get about an ounce of weed off your plant. So if you had 100 watts and you're getting, then you'd be getting 25 grams. You know, that's approximately. You could get double that if you do it the right way. And you know, that's possible if the strain allows it. Okay, so these are what you're going to want for the lights. I got them at Lowe's. You can get them at Home Depot and stuff like that too. You're also going to want, so you're going to want about 4 of those. That's about 100 watts. Then you're going to want to get a couple of these. These are just your dollar store bulbs. Nothing crazy here, but the spectrum is what I was looking at, 6,500. So since these are 5,000, I do like to sometimes put a couple 6,500s in there, maybe just 2 or 4, probably 2, one on each side of the plant. Okay, they're cheap, they're everywhere. You always just check, make sure it's 6,500. The true watts are 8, so I'm only adding 16 watts, but I'm getting the spectrum I want, and I've noticed that does help a little bit for veg when you get that 6,500 in there. But you don't need it; it's not needed. So any brand for the 23 watt 27, so you're gonna get the same thing as this, but it's gonna say 2700K. You can go all the way up to 3,500 if you can't get it, you know, but basically you're going to be wanting 2700K, a 4-pack, and also it would be 23 watt. You can get any brand for that. That's what I usually do, but I've noticed the Sylvania ones are good, so I threw that in there. So basically for the soil, you're going to want a bag of Fox Farm. You're going to not use anything close to a bag, but just kind of keep it in case you need a couple things for maybe clones or something. If you can get pots for $1 at the dollar store, maybe they'd be like 2 or 3 bucks. If you wanted the 5-gallon ones, maybe you're looking at like 3 to 5 bucks for a pot, for a good one. Don't get a clay pot because it messes with the temperature of the root system. These are some things you may or may not need at the bottom. Okay, I had it all at my house. I had a little bit of rope, a little bit of wood, For the Mylar paper for the walls, I just used white paper to make it reflective. You don't need to use Mylar. You can get Mylar paper sheets for less than 10 bucks on eBay. Really cheap. You're gonna want your light stand. So like I had a couple light stands from the past, but what's good is to go to like the Goodwill or like maybe the dollar store or Walmart or something and get those light stands that nobody ever wants that you see on the side of the road. They have usually like 3 or 4 light sockets running along it. It usually looks something like, let me see. Usually would look something like this. So, you know, it's just a stand with lights. Okay. And what you can do is you put the splitters on here, splitter, 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 and now you got 2 lights on each one. Okay. And a lot of times what I do is I'll have a stand like that or something similar to that. I'll have 2 stands next to each other with the plant in the middle. Okay, so then your plant, this would be your plant, you know. But everybody does it a little bit different. Some people do it like that, and then they'll have, you know, bulbs coming out the top of, you know, the setup as well, from the top and from the sides. People do it all different ways. I noticed from the top and the sides, both is better, keeping them about 2 to 4 inches away. So that's usually what I do. You don't want to keep them far away from the plant. Right. So the breakdown on cost, okay, between what you want for your splitters, your not so expensive bulbs if you can find them. The Sylvania's still not too expensive. That's pretty much all you need, other than the soil in the pot. And of course a clone or a seed. So grab what you need. That's really kind of bottom of the barrel there. The sockets are about 10 bucks total. Lights, depending on what you get, could be a lot cheaper than that too. Soil's 20 bucks. Everything all together is about 80. So if you do need the miscellaneous things, you're looking at 100 bucks or less still. And that's going to be pulling in, let's see, 23 times 8 is 16 less than 200. Okay, so right about 200, we'll call it. So if you have 200 watts on a grow like this, if you have 200 watts and you're going to get a quarter of that, so you're going to get about 50 grams. If you and you could get maybe even as much as 100 grams if you do it right, and the yield is good for that particular strain. So if you can't afford it, or if you get something that's maybe you know, not too great of a strain, you're probably looking at a couple ounces off of a setup like this. The cost each month, is your bill gonna go crazy? No, it's not. I think they did the math on something like this, and it was like 255 watts ran all day was of CFL bulbs ran all day was like $24.65 or something a month. So if you have about half of that, because you're running it 12 hours a day, that's 12 bucks a month that it would go up, and we're not even at 255, so about maybe 8 or 9 bucks a month you're looking at, if I had to guess. That's just a little bit of math, but anyways. So yeah, that's what you need, some splitters, some bulbs, and you'll be good to go.